This week on The Record, he's in. Gabe Gore is running for St. Louis Circuit Attorney. What he told us on The Record the day before launching his bid. Illinois gun owners face a deadline to register banned assault weapons. We go behind the scenes with Highland Park mass shooting survivor Ashby Beasley. And hear concerns from Illinois Freedom Caucus founder Brad Holbrook. What could the state do with a gun registry? It's all coming up right now. Welcome to The Record. I'm Mark Maxwell. St. Louis Circuit Attorney Gabe Gore launched his bid to run for a full 4-year term as the city's top prosecutor Wednesday. The day prior, he delivered a 6-month progress report from a downtown courtroom, and then immediately after saying this, came and spoke with us on The Record.
There's no type of crime that we are looking the other way on. We are enforcing the laws. We don't think, and we don't accept the notion that if, as a citizen of the city of St. Louis, you have to accept a certain amount of property crime, or what people would refer to as petty crime, as a cost of living in a city.
St. Louis Circuit Attorney Gabe Gore is now on The Record, and it's good to have you with us.
It's good to be here.
You also said that your office is now charging cases when they're applied for. That implies renewed or increased trust in police. How automatic is that decision when you file those charges?
Well, when I say that we're filing charges when they're applied on, it doesn't mean that we're not conducting a review process and determining that there's enough evidence to support the charges. So I don't think it reflects necessarily increased trust in police. What it reflects is a timely process of conducting the analysis necessary to make a charging decision.
And perhaps that contrast was because you highlighted your predecessor's lax discretion on pursuing property crimes in particular. You said that there would be a change in the way business was conducted, that property crimes wouldn't just be left uncharged. How would you describe that policy's impact to the city's economy or overall morale?
I wasn't necessarily referencing the prior administration's approach. What I was referencing was that's what we were pursuing, and therefore I think that that is the basis for the increased number of charges.
Well, you said it was a decision, and that the office would no longer be letting crimes go uncharged. That sounds like a discretion decision.
For me, it wasn't really a discretionary decision. As circuit attorney, it's my job to enforce the laws. So it wasn't something where I felt like I was exercising discretion. I feel like I was just doing my job.
Mm-hmm. Do you see yourself as a reformer or an executor of the criminal justice system that we have today?
I view myself in my role as circuit attorney as someone who the community has placed a tremendous amount of trust in. That it's a tremendous responsibility being circuit attorney and enforcing the laws.
With respect, the community hasn't yet. The governor has. The community may still do that.
I like to think that the community has, and we've been completely embraced by the community, so I would disagree with you on that. I think the community has placed that trust in our office. I think that's been reflected in my engagement with the community, and I welcome that. And my goal is to perform my duties professionally, competently, with fairness and compassion.
Do you see avenues through which your office can affect change, policy change, as a prosecutor, or do you see that job as something left to the legislature?
I believe that the approach we take to enforcing the laws is policy. I think that's when I say that there's a tremendous trust placed in the office. I think the charging decisions we make are policy. I think the manner in which we dispose of cases in terms of making recommendations for plea negotiations, which are a necessary part of any prosecutor's office, that's policy. I think setting up a diversion unit and determining how your diversion unit's going to operate, that's policy. Making the decision that I've made that I'm going to deeply engage with the community, that I'm going to be available, that I'm going to be out there in community meetings, that's policy. So yes, we have an impact on policy.
We've got a lot of defendants locked up in the City Justice Center right now. Have you been inside?
I have not.
Would you like to see the conditions there? How would you describe what you've heard so far?
I've been inside of a lot of jails and prisons during the course of my career. I've spent more times in jails and prisons than most people. I will at some point go over and tour and get a sense of what's going on there. As circuit attorney, I don't run the jails. I don't have responsibility for the jails.
You've been on the job 6 months now. I imagine you've seen hundreds, if not thousands, of cases come across your desk. In the course of reviewing those charges, have there been any cases where a suspect accused of a violent felony has been able to post bond and avoid going to the City Justice Center while they wait for their trial?
You're asking me whether there have been any cases during the time that I've been circuit attorney where a defendant, someone charged by our office, has made bond. Yes, there's been many.
Conversely, have there been any defendants accused of a nonviolent crime that couldn't pay bond, couldn't afford to post that payment and remain in jail?
I am not in the weeds. We currently have, I believe, 3,000 felonies pending in the 22nd Judicial Circuit filed by my office. I am not in the weeds every day reviewing bond decisions and charging decisions. That's not part of my role.
I guess the question is, what role should wealth play in determining a suspect's liberty before their trial, before their conviction?
It is my view that, and I believe this is largely what we see occur in the 22nd Judicial Circuit. It is my view that wealth should play no role, and that the decision that should be made is whether or not this is a defendant who can be released on bond with conditions in place that will ensure the safety of the community. That, to me, is the critical piece, is that one, you ensure that defendants are not going to pose a danger to the community, and that they're going to show up for their court dates and participate in the prosecution of their case.
So when the public hears you say wealth should play no role, do they also hear you say you'd like to see the legislature change that and abolish cash bail? Or do you still see that as a tool at your discretion?
I am not a legislator, and I'm not a legislator. I don't sit around thinking about what they should do in Jeff City. I focus on where the rubber meets the road, which is our courthouse, and that's the practice I see, that's the analysis I see our judges going through on a daily basis.
Circuit Attorney Gabe Gore, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here.
When we come back, we hear from a mass shooting survivor who inspired Illinois' ban on assault weapons next.